We dismiss history at our peril.
Liberty Nation Radio with Mark Angelides.
The president warns that with this new conflict in Ukraine, Americans are going to feel the financial heat, pointing out that defending freedom will have costs. But for those of you with a nose for spin, it may seem like Joe Biden is trying to shift the responsibility for his economic performance onto Vladimir Putin. Now, to pass the numbers, we're fortunate to have with us Liberty Nation's economics correspondent, Mr. Andrew Moran. Thanks for being here, Andrew.
Thank you for having me.
So tell me, Andrew, the president says defending freedom will have costs. He's talking about gas and energy prices, right? But even before this situation developed, weren't Americans already paying more for Biden's policies?
Oh, absolutely. It's just this has become the theme of the whole Biden presidency. He's trying to find scapegoats for every single problem facing his administration. On the economic front, when inflation is at a 4-decade high, he's trying to blame everybody else for it. He's blaming mom and pop gasoline stores. He's blaming big meat. He's blaming Jerome Powell, which I agree, but he's blaming for the wrong reasons. And now he's blaming Vladimir Putin. Maybe perhaps you should give him the benefit of the doubt. Maybe he was saying, defending freedom will have greater costs than all the Americans are paying now. So perhaps that maybe he just misspoke, But yeah, so Americans are paying a lot more than they already have. It's just going to exacerbate moving forward.
Well, I would rebut giving him the benefit of the doubt there, because I noticed in a recent article on CBS News, the whole piece, it talked about why costs would rise, how it would impact Americans, but made not a single mention of the 40-year high inflation or already super high gas prices. And now we see this being repeated by the rest of the media. Do they think people will actually fall for it?
Yeah, I think if you're glued to, let's say, CNN or NBC News and you're reading the New York Times, yeah, you're going to believe it. It's that old adage, the bigger the lie, the more people will believe it. If this tidbit is repeated constantly at the 9 o'clock primetime news hour and on segments on CNN that, inflation was showing signs of easing before the Ukraine crisis, if you look at the latest data, more people are going to buy that. It's this appeal to authority fallacy when they're saying, these people said inflation was easing. Although I didn't feel it, perhaps it was easing. So now you have that excuse of the Ukraine crisis adding a lot of pressure, especially on the energy front. So I think a specific portion of the public probably will want to believe it, who want Democrats to remain in power. But the reality of the situation is that nothing was easy. If you look at the last CPI report in January, nothing was easy. Everything was up across the board, except I think men's pants and audio equipment. And if you want to dive into what those products are for, you can have that at Mark.
I'm just going shopping now for pants and audio equipment. Now, I got to point out here, Andrew, that you and I spoke about this before recording, but one of these articles mentioned that gas could hit $4 a gallon because of the Ukraine crisis. Now, I think I'm correct in this. You did talk to me about this before. In California, it's already $4 a gallon, right? And around the country, it's the national pump price is $3.54.
Yeah. Well, the national average in the United States is $3.54, but in California, the average is around $4.40, and some places in the state are paying as high as $5 a gallon already. So the record high prices are slamming into California. But there are a variety of reasons for it. You have the high regulations. Demand is immense in California because they have a lack of a public transit system. You have all these taxes and all this green energy transition. So yeah, the California pays the most in the nation today.
So for California, this Russian situation is a good thing, right? Because it will bring gas down to $4 a gallon, according to the left-wing media. Right, let's talk about inflation for a moment, Andrew. Now, as you point out, the BODs in DC, they said that inflation would begin to ease, coincidentally, I'm sure, just before the midterm elections. Now, these people, they're people who are apparently in the know. Now, how is the Ukraine situation going to impact their assessment?
Well, I think, well, the energy is the biggest thing because Russia supplies a massive amount of energy to the world. So Ukraine is an important transit point for this natural gas shipments. But I think when it comes to the United States, the key point is that the United States is going to ship a lot more natural gas to Europe. Right now, Europe imports about 60% of its liquefied natural gas from the United States. Now, if you look at the latest EIA Storage Weekly report, it shows that the natural gas numbers are actually below the 5-year average, which is I think is around 1 trillion cubic feet, something in that area. So if more natural gas is going to be shipped to Europe, there's going to be less at home to consume. The other issue is that not a lot of natural gas production is happening right now, whether it's because of regulatory uncertainty or companies are just trying to maintain a strong balance sheet. There's a lot of debate over that. But overall, if you're having this energy crisis, and Europe, which already suffered from an energy crisis before this Ukraine debacle, Americans are going to hurt, but mostly they're going to hurt in their wallets because natural gas obviously is going to spike. Crude oil is going to spike. I mean, you're already seeing it now. There's expectation that it's going to hit $100 a barrel soon. Brent is at 98. The WTI contract is at $92. The U.S. is now a net importer of oil. It's no longer a net exporter. So this Ukraine crisis, it's bringing a lot of the fault lines to the front. You're seeing all the problems that were festering before. Now they're being exacerbated by the Ukraine crisis. And one more thing, food is also a critical issue in this topic because Russia is now the world's largest wheat producer. Ukraine is the 4th largest wheat producer. Problem with Russia is that they have an export tax, so it costs a lot of farmers to ship their wheat products. So that's going to add even more pressures to inflation. Back home, even a guy like James Bullard, he's the president of the St. Louis Federal Reserve Bank. He said inflation's spiraling out of control. All this issue now is going to impact the Federal Reserve and how it's going to move on interest rates. Are they going to agree to a 50 basis point hike at the March FOMC meeting? Are they going to keep it at 25? Are they going to have a full percentage point by July? There's so many factors that are going to impact the United States. It's really, really riveting to monitor how the financial market's going to react, how the Federal Reserve is going to react, and how public policymakers back home are going to react.
It almost makes you wish for the days of energy and food independence. Andrew Moran, thank you ever so much.
Thank you for having me.
You're listening to Liberty Nation Radio, heard across the Radio America network from our flagship station in the nation's capital, WWRC in Washington, D.C. Remember, you can tune in for Liberty Nation from 2 to 3 p.m. on Sunday on KBKW 103.5 FM, 1450 AM, the talk of Grays Harbor. Now, coming up later is Hate Crime Just Thought Crime by Another Name. Next up, we have a special Say What segment with Tim Donner. We dismiss history at our peril.
Liberty Nation Radio with Mark Angelides.
We're doing it for real, really real. Liberty Nation.
And Jeff Charles, contributor for LibertyNation.com.
I think we're starting to make an impact. Liberty style, fighting for freedom.
The tracking poll sponsored by Liberty Nation for Thursday.
Mentioned by Dan Bongino, Rasmussen, Jordan Peterson, and
I can
others.
do it again if you want me to.
Cited in Mark Levin's American Marxism.
I think we're starting to make a really big impact. Get noticed. We're doing it. Rock on. I'm gone.